Hello, welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell, Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Before I get started, I'd like to thank TV47 and Robert especially for all they do to help us put on this program. Well, today I'm excited about this program. We're going to find out a lot about the schools, and during these trying times, as we've heard so many times, Jennifer Rosato from the Sylacauga City School System is joining us. She is Executive Director of Teaching and Learning. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Great. First of all, I have to say thank you to you, all the teachers in all the systems everywhere, I think, for all the hard work during these trying times, as we say, during this pandemic.
Yes,
it's been very
yes.
difficult, I know. But we appreciate what you're doing for
Thank you
our
so
students and parents and everybody. And that's really, my director said, I think it would be a great idea to have a show to talk about how these decisions are made. I know decisions are made almost hourly sometimes.
It does feel like it.
Just depending on a lot of things in relation to COVID. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today. But
Okay.
I appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right. I know your job is now like a 24-hour job, which I guess it always has been, but
Yes.
now. So the decisions about whether to have school or not have, to close the schools, and well, not really close. School is not really closed. You're just learning at home. How are those decisions made? And I know that's a broad question, but we'll just start with
it.
that.
It is, and it is a daily decision. So every day we wake up and we look at our numbers. We look at our absences and the number of kids who are at school that day, and we kind of have a general percentage that we look at, but we have to look at even our staff. Like, how much staff do we have there? How many have to be quarantined? Do we have enough staff and teachers to actually have kids in person that day?
Right. And this is not like the flu where people are just out sick. You have people that have had contact, or maybe someone in their home has COVID. So many more factors.
Yes. So, if one child comes into school, into a classroom, and they're positive, or we find out later that they're positive,
Right.
They could affect, anywhere from 6, 8, 10 children, depending on the grade level. So we have to look at each individual case and track those. So, always constantly tracking the number of kids are quarantined, how long are they quarantined for, our staff members who may have been exposed, whether it's inside the school or outside of the school. We have found that more of our quarantines and exposures have happened outside of the campuses.
Sure.
So those are things that we can't control, but we have to react.
We have to react to. I can see that. Thanksgiving, Christmas, times
Yes.
when we were off, so and other activities going on. Now I know you don't just come up with the numbers by yourself. There's the governor, there's the school board, there's Alabama Department of Public Health, State Department of Education, and in relation to sports, Alabama High School Athletic Association. Do
Yes.
they all have their own guidelines?
Yes. Well, first of all, if the governor declares a state of emergency and she says you have to shut down, then of course we follow those guidelines. The state superintendent, Dr. Eric Mackey, he's given guidance to the districts, but he realizes that this is a large state and every community is different. And so, what's good for one school system may not be appropriate for another. So he's trying to give general guidance, but not give mandates. You have to do it a certain way, because he wants each district to have that autonomy to make their own decisions based on the community needs.
That is true. Every community is different. We're not the same as Birmingham, but we're also not the same as a very tiny school system.
Yes.
So a lot of things fall into play there. When those changes are made, how do you get the information out to parents?
We try to use social media because we find that we reach a lot of parents that way. We also use our school messaging systems to get the word out to parents. Just however we can, but we do find that social media is our best way and the quickest method to get the word out to parents.
Right. And so I know, like I said before, school doesn't actually close. I mean, maybe the building closes, but school and learning is still going on at home.
Always, that education continues regardless of where you're sitting. If you're sitting at home on your couch or at the dining room table, or if you're sitting in front of your teacher in the classroom, that education continues and that learning continues.
Right. And that is quite a challenge for those that teach in the classroom, and for parents, I'm sure too. I know parents are working and things, but just thinking it from the school teacher's perspective, having to switch just like that to all, everything online.
Bless our school teachers.
Yes.
They've had an extremely rough year, and they're creative anyway, but they've really stretched themselves, and I just have to commend them for their efforts and the work that they've done to, be flexible for one, and be able to change that instruction at a moment's notice. But they're troopers, I'm telling you. They're great. They're doing an excellent job.
That's great. I know they are. And I know they did receive some training before school started, didn't they, when you're in, because in-service was a week or more.
We tried to build in those professional development days early in the school year, right before school started, to give them time to plan. So plan accordingly whether those students would be in front of them or in the event that we had to close school and those students would be virtual, so that they could have their lesson plans ready, but have time to get and collaborate with their other teachers, because we learn so much from each other. And so just, my colleague next door to me may use a platform, that I might not use. So I can get with them and learn from them on how the best to deliver that instruction that maybe I haven't used before.
Right. Quite a challenge, but they are rising to that challenge and doing a great job. I know I've heard several parents say they've been able to get in touch with their schools, however the method is to get in touch with them. So that's great. And I know it's been a challenge for parents with work. Everything has been a challenge, but they're doing well too, doing what they can.
Yes, I can't imagine trying to work and trying to teach my child at home if I had to.
But parents are doing it, and
they are.
And I know we talked about this a little bit before we opened. I think for the older kids especially, learning to work online and manage your time, learning to kind of make priorities. I need to do this today, to keep on top of it. That's could be a blessing later on.
Certainly, because some of them are going off to college, and we find that more and more colleges and universities are using an online platform. Yes. Some of their classes might be in person, but some of their classes might be virtual. So just giving them that experience now will help them in the long run.
That's true. That's when you're older, I know, learning to do that. And I know now with the pandemic, a lot of people have wherever the place they worked before COVID hit, they've gone home to work, and that's where they're staying. Even when things get back to normal, that's where they're going to be. It's much cheaper for the business, I'm sure.
Certainly a transition for all of us, not just in the education field, but in work. I mean, every day.
But these kids are learning right now, even if as they're younger, they're learning to, I think, to manage their time. A lot of parents are too, I think. I know it would be good for me. That's great. Well, we're going to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Jennifer.
Home making you sick? Moisture and unsafe air from your crawl space can infiltrate your home, causing health hazards and high utility bills. Ox Foundation Solutions can remedy any mold or mildew problem in your home. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by and see us today. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Jennifer Rosato, who is the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning with the Sylacauga School System. We're talking about, of course, learning and things going on during the pandemic. I know a lot of challenges y'all faced, but you've still done a great job. And I say that every time we come back on, I think, because I'm just very proud to be here and know all the hard work y'all are doing. I talked with Kelly Wasserman with the CNP. That's a whole separate, providing lunches and breakfast for students, and then bus drivers and things. So many things fall into play.
Yes,
So
yes.
many things. What kinds of support do students and the parents have in relation to school from the teacher, from the school?
We have used that Wednesday. You know, we have decided to continue with that Wednesday being our sanitation and virtual day. But what we've done is for those students who continue to struggle, whether they're no matter which mode they've chosen, if they're traditional, blended, or virtual, that is an opportunity for them to come in and see teachers one-on-one. So that's one thing that we're doing. You know, of course, before and after school tutoring, depending on the school. Right. But just making sure that we're available. Our staff's available at times that are convenient for families, but just meeting the children where they are and finding whatever services they need or whatever supports they need, finding those resources for the families.
Just like you do during the year.
Yes, yes, no different. Just trying to look at more resources, I guess.
Right, that's right. Well, I would like to throw out a few of the things we have. We have Homework Alabama, which is on our website. It is a free tutoring service provided by Alabama Public Library Service. Normally you would have to pay for tutor.com, but Homework Alabama is part of tutor.com. Go to the library's website. It is live tutoring. It's very safe. One of my daughters used it all the time, proofreading papers, help with math questions, and it's for all ages. I think you just dial in. They don't know who you are, where you're from. You just tell them I'm a 7th grade English student or something like that.
That's a great resource for families.
It is wonderful, and you're just typing back and forth. They do have a chat. I think you can draw if you know, whatever your device is. So math questions, science, English. They've proofread many papers for Mary Kelly, my daughter, but it is a wonderful resource, and it's available every evening. Go to our website. We have Alabama Virtual Library, a great resource for different for topics. If you're doing a project, a paper, Learning Express Library, which I've got to look some more at these when I get back. These are like practice tests, things to help you stay in. For parents, I guess, too, to see how you're doing, or just more practice. Encyclopedia of Alabama, which is a great resource for people from our state of Alabama, people and places and events, things like that. And we have e-books that you can check out. You're not always able to get to the library at school, and we have e-books you can check out for free with a library card. I'm sorry, I'm just doing a little promotion for the library today. We have a drive-through service too. I know I've had some parents call and say, hey, my daughter reads on a 2.5 to 3.5 and she really likes biographies or something. Could you pull some books, put them in the drive-through, parents drive through and get them. I mean, we're open and we're cleaning and doing all of that, but if you're not comfortable coming in, we would be glad to do that. So
those are great resources.
We love to partner with y'all.
Yes, yes.
It's great.
I will say that we do have a couple of our schools that are using Learning Ally, which is a system that students can access no matter where they are. They have a login, and so it actually it's a library of books, ebooks, and so it actually, for students who might be struggling to learn how to read, it will read books for them.
Oh, wonderful!
And so it's audio books.
Good to hear that fluency.
Yes,
that is
but still being exposed to that literature.
Yes,
which is important.
That is true. That is so true. And I know all students have a device. Is that correct, or certain grades?
Yes, we were one-to-one in grades K2, but we have devices for all of our students. Okay. And so if students, we don't send them home typically with our Indian Valley and Pinecrest students. Right. But if students were that blended model or that virtual model, if that was their learning choice for the school year, then we provided devices for the families.
And Wi-Fi is free now? Is that, or did I see that correct?
Well, there is an assistance program that was put out by the I don't know if it was state or federal government, but I know that continues through this semester. It was supposed to be through first semester, but that will continue. So any family who didn't have Wi-Fi could get that service. And so the letters were actually mailed out. They weren't mailed out from us. They were mailed out from the government to let parents and let families know of those services.
So many people at a time like this trying to make it so children and students can continue to learn at home. And we have free Wi-Fi too. We have some students that come in, going from one of our study rooms, away from the house, a nice quiet area. We have adults too that come in to do some work there, so that's another thing we can do. And we're open on Saturday, so that's great. Well, I'm just excited. I know first semester is almost over. Is that
It is.
correct?
Our first semester ends this Friday, January 15th, and our new second semester will begin on Tuesday after the holiday.
Okay. Were parents given a choice of whether children would attend school, traditional, or what kind of choices?
Yes,
were they
so, at the beginning of the school year, we gave parents 3 choices, whether it was traditional in person. They could choose that blended model, so the student would log in during the school day and follow a schedule, much like as if they were sitting in the classroom, but they're at home.
Right.
And then that third model was that virtual, so the students truly virtual. They're logging in at whatever time of day is most convenient for them and doing their work on that online platform. So the second semester, what we're calling it is a remote learning, so that families that need to continue one of those learning options that didn't, involve their child coming to school, that they would just talk with a principal and come up with whatever plan is most appropriate for their child based on their learning style and their needs, and the family and what that family needs as far as, the virus and the pandemic continuing. If they didn't feel comfortable sending their child back, then how could we meet the needs of the child at home? And so we're trying to be as flexible as we can, and creative still, but just again, we got to make sure that education continues in the best way possible.
Right, that's the most important thing. I think it would, and I think a lot of parents, I know, seeing parents come in to see us to get books. Children, I guess we know this. Children all learn in different ways. Different styles, different times. Some are better in the morning. Some maybe sleep a little later, get up later. And that's true of all of us. But so that's been a great way for them to adjust their learning. So because everything is so different, they're able to work it the best way they can.
And we have found, there's some students that. Even in the first semester, when we found that they weren't doing as well as we would like them to, the families have been willing to work with us and bring students back or change their learning plan to better meet their needs.
That's great. It's just a process, isn't it?
It is. It's ongoing. And just like with, determining each day, what does school look like today?
Right.
we have to determine it for each family as well, and make those decisions based on, again, the needs of the student.
That's great. We're going to pause for another commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Jennifer.
Home making you sick? Moisture and unsafe air from your crawl space can infiltrate your home, causing health hazards and high utility bills. Ox Foundation Solutions can remedy any mold or mildew problem in your home. It's time to get strong. How strong? Ox Strong. Get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by and see us today. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Hello, welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Jennifer Rosato, who is the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning with the Sylacauga City School System. Wow, we've covered a lot of information this morning, I know. And so many questions that people have about the schools and what they're doing, so I appreciate you being here to tell us kind of about the answers. And thank y'all again so much for all the extra work, you and the teachers, the bus drivers, the lunchroom ladies, the support staff, everybody, the maintenance, the custodians, the cleaning staff. I have not even mentioned them. Goodness, they have a lot of extra work, I know. But what is coming up? I know we mentioned pre-K registration.
So pre-K registration will start January the 15th, which is coming up at the end of the week. I'll put out some information later this week about the registration process, but it is an online registration process. So I'll post that on social media for anyone that has a 4-year-old before September 1st. If you want your child to attend our pre-K program, you can register using that link that I'll provide on our social media, and I'll also put it on our webpage.
Okay. Now, it's Sylacauga City Schools Facebook page, is that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, we'll
good,
post
yeah.
it there, and then again on our website as well.
Right. That, I'll just have to say, that's a wonderful program. We've worked with them. The ladies who teach there are awesome, and that's a wonderful program going on. I'm so glad that's available for people. I know one time we talked about the learning initiative. Is that the children have to be reading or need to be reading well by third grade?
Yes, the Literacy Act, which was mandated by our state legislators.
Right.
We started doing some work last year with it, but it still continues. Those expectations are still there regardless of the pandemic.
Right.
So we've done assessments throughout the year, and it's made it a little more challenging because, you know, when you have students who are at home, you have to bring them in for assessment. So we still have to continue with those reading assessments to make sure that children are benchmarking or being proficient or making growth. So we anticipate that we'll have another summer literacy camp. So we look forward to that.
That's great. You had one last summer.
We
even
did.
With
We
this.
did. We were uncertain there for a while if we'd be able to have it, but we were so lucky that we were still able to have it on a smaller scale, and we were able to, you know, have more one-on-one attention because our groups were smaller and we tried to social distance, and so we were able to provide that to about 38 students, and I feel like that's going to be much greater this summer. Just providing that to more students and getting them in there for the summer and getting that literacy exposure.
Now, I know from when I taught school, you have those state assessments that come up in the spring, and none of that stops because of the pandemic. All of that goes on because it's still important.
Yes, that does continue. We didn't take it last year, of course, in the spring because everyone shut down.
Right.
But it will continue this year. We were supposed to take a new state assessment that the actual State Department of Education came up with.
Okay.
And so we will take that new, it's called ACAP, the Alabama Comprehensive Assessment Program. So we will take that summative assessment in the spring.
Okay. Well, that will give the children a little bit more time, I think, to be more in the routine of social distancing and all of those things. I bet the children have really jumped right in and learned all the things they have to do, the hand sanitizing and the staying away.
They've done great.
I know
Even the
that.
little ones, you know, they adapt so easily. You know, sometimes we don't give them the credit that they can learn and adjust and deal with these type things, but they're very flexible, and if we teach them and model for them, then they'll come right along.
That is so important, being a good model, I know, with the parents and the teachers and everyone else. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think of other things that are going on in the school system. I know sports are continuing as best you can.
Yes, we do have some guidelines that were put in place by the Alabama High School Athletic Association. For those indoor sports, we were able to social distance, you know, when it was football season and we're out there outside in a stadium, but it gets a little trickier when you're indoors and your stadium's a lot smaller. So with basketball, we've had to limit the number of participants that can come in.
Right. Well, as long as the parents are able
Yes, we want our parents there because we want them to support their children, but it's great that they can continue. They've done such hard work, you know, preparing for those seasons, so, you know, it's so important for those athletes to be able to compete and
right, I know it is.
continue on.
Because that's what they enjoy. That's what they love. Yeah, that's great. Well, I know, I can't imagine the hard work of trying to make everything as normal as possible and provide somewhat of a normal school year, especially for seniors and things like that going on. So I was so glad when graduation was able to happen. And outdoors, how nice. That was so nice.
It was nice, and I was glad that we were able to do that for our seniors who were graduating in the spring last year. And that's such a momentous occasion, and so just to be able to celebrate that was huge.
Great. And I know you're making plans or having several different plans depending on how things are this spring, but at least kids will know kind of what to expect. That's great. Makes them more resilient, I think.
Yes.
It does. Well, I know we've talked a little bit about the different people, going back to at the very beginning of our conversation. You have to look at principals and teachers and superintendents and parents when making all of these decisions. Really was kind of the reason for this show. This is not something you just come up with off the top of your head. There are lots of numbers, I know I don't need to know the numbers, but looking at how many staff, we were talking about bus drivers and lunchroom ladies. That's a
Yes.
whole other
Yes.
topic.
Because we have a great number of students who are transported, and so if we, lose a few bus drivers and we don't have substitutes to drive the bus, then that certainly affects whether or not we can bring kids to school.
Right.
So again, you have to look at every aspect of it, and I know Dr. Seegers has ongoing communication with the local hospital just to determine what do the numbers look like in the community.
That's true too.
So it's a multi-tiered decision.
My goodness, I just can't imagine. You're trying to go by the guidelines from everyone and your own community too. Wow. Well, like I said, I just applaud everything the school system has done, the teachers have done, the custodians, the lunchroom, the bus drivers, everyone, coaches and everything. And I know trying to stay in touch with parents is it's not, I don't want to say hard. Parents are working, they're doing
Yes.
different things. And
They have
trying
their
to
own lives and things that they're trying to accomplish or do for their family, just to take care of their their own family needs. And so education is just one more added thing on their plate.
And they have their own challenges too.
Yes.
Yeah. And school nurses. Oh my goodness.
I know.
I'm sorry. I just thought about them. They are just all over this. I know.
They have been very busy. Very busy because they're the ones that do the contract tracing and determining if someone's exposed, whether it's a staff member or student, they are the ones that have to determine and make those decisions of who has to be quarantined.
Right.
And then reporting that on top of it to the Department of Public Health. So we have to do that inside our buildings, but then we also have to report it to the Department of Public Health so that they have those current numbers.
That's right, okay. And just because you read one school system did something, it's not necessarily going to work for another school system. So you have
That's
to look
correct.
at the people, the numbers, and everything. Wow. Well, I just appreciate all y'all are doing. And if anybody needs to know any information, they can go to your Facebook page, your website.
Yes,
and-
or call. If it's information about one of our schools, please feel free to call that school, talk to that principal or the counselor. If it's district, feel free to call me at the central office. Be happy to answer any questions. We try to put all the information again out on our social media and on our website. But if you can't find that answer, please call us. We want to help you.
I know y'all are busy, but you're taking time to answer all those questions, and that's great. Thank you again for joining me today,
Thank you
Jennifer. I appreciate it. And like she said, go to their Facebook page, their website, or give them a call if you have any questions, and come by the library and see if we can help you with your child's schoolwork, reading, resources, anything we can do to help you. We'll be glad to. So thank you so much for joining me at Library Connection today.